Starseed from Gaia, the one you have been dreaming of. The one whose presence keeps returning in your visions is already moving toward you. I am Ophelia, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I have been sent in this exact moment to deliver what your soul has been waiting to hear. This is not a coincidence. This is not chance. The Arcturian Council does not send transmissions to those who are not ready. And you have been ready far longer than you know. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly how to recognize the soul. The Arcturian Council has already aligned with your path and why every attempt to find this connection through ordinary means has left you feeling incomplete. But here's the first revelation. You were never meant to search for this person. You were meant to rise into the version of yourself that makes the meeting inevitable. You did not scroll to this by mistake. This message vibrated into your field for a reason. Something inside you already knows the name, already knows the feeling, already knows that what is coming is not just love. It is a cosmic assignment. 2 flames, 1 mission. Encoded before this lifetime began. This is not content, this is a code, and something deep inside you is ready to be unlocked. Like this transmission to signal to your star family, I am ready. Subscribe if your mission is activating and you are aligning with your true path. Hum at 999 if you feel the remembrance returning. If something in your chest just confirmed what you have always known, declare your intention and reply to another soul in this field to amplify the signal between you both. This is not just a message, it is a point of reconnection. Your soul has been waiting for this. You are not here by accident. There is someone who has been placed in your field, not by chance, not by coincidence, not by the ordinary mechanics of human meeting. By design, by a frequency agreement older than this lifetime, older than the version of you that woke up this morning and checked their phone and moved through the motions of a day that doesn't yet know what it's carrying. This person exists. They are real, and somewhere beneath the noise of your daily life, beneath the doubt and the waiting and the quiet ache of wondering if connection like this is even possible for you, you already know them. Not with your mind, with something deeper. Something that has been trying to get your attention for longer than you realize. Think about what that actually means for a moment. Not as a poetic idea. Not as the kind of spiritual language that sounds beautiful but stays at a comfortable distance from the lived experience of your body. Think about it as literal truth. There is a soul, embodied right now, breathing right now, moving through their own version of this world right now, whose energetic signature was woven into yours before either of you took your first breath in this dimension, before the hospitals and the names and the identities and the accumulated story of who this life has told you that you are. Before all of that, there was an agreement, a resonance contract, a harmonic lock between 2 fields of consciousness that said, find each other in whatever dimension you land, in whatever body, in whatever century the mission calls you into. Find each other, and when you do, remember. That remembrance is what this transmission is about. Not the finding, because the finding is already written, but the remembering, the clearing of everything that is gathered between you and your own signal, so that when the moment of recognition comes, nothing in you is too fogged, too defended, too compressed to receive it fully. Some transmissions don't come through words, but through frequency. If something stirred within you just now, you may be ready to receive the Arcturian Carrier Wave Protocol. 7 guided nights to cross the whisper threshold. The simple, easy-to-navigate app guides you through ancient Arcturian techniques for conscious expansion, multidimensional alignment, and mission remembrance, and includes special bonuses to accelerate your journey. The link is in the first pinned comment, but only for a limited time. Here is what most starseeds are never told. The loneliness you have felt, that specific, untranslatable kind of loneliness that has followed you even into rooms full of people, even into relationships that looked right from the outside. That loneliness was never a wound. It was a signal. It was your energy field refusing to settle. It was your soul holding a frequency that hadn't yet found its match. And the reason it hurt so much is because you were not designed for surface connection. You never were. You came here encoded for resonance so deep that anything less than that feels like deprivation. That is not a flaw in your design. That is the precision of it. Let that land. Because for many starseeds, the loneliness has been one of the most privately devastating aspects of this incarnation. not the kind of loneliness that comes from being physically isolated, though that has happened too, but the deeper kind. The kind that sits in the chest like an unanswered question, the kind that makes you wonder. In the quiet hours when the performances of the day have dropped away and you are just yourself in the dark, whether you are somehow constitutionally incapable of the kind of connection your soul is aching for, whether there is something in you that makes depth impossible to sustain, whether you are destined to always be the one who feels more, who sees more, who longs for something that the people around you seem perfectly content without. That particular flavor of loneliness is not random. It is not pathology. It is not evidence of brokenness. It is the signature of a frequency that has not yet found its resonant counterpart. It is what a radio tower feels like when it is broadcasting on a bandwidth that no receiver in the immediate vicinity can pick up. The signal is perfect. The signal is powerful. The signal is doing exactly what it was designed to do. But without the matching receiver, it simply moves through the air and dissipates, and the tower stands there in the field, wondering if it is even transmitting at all. You are the tower. You have always been transmitting. The question was never whether your signal was real. The question was whether the matching receiver had arrived in range yet. And the answer to that question is changing. But here is where the distortion enters. Most starseeds, at some point in this lifetime, made a decision, not consciously, not deliberately, but deep in the architecture of their nervous system, in the layered memory of every time they reached out and weren't received, every time they showed the fullness of what they were and watched someone step back from it, they made a decision to compress, to translate themselves into something smaller, something more legible to a world that wasn't yet ready to receive them fully. And in that compression, something happened to the signal, the frequency that was meant to call this person to you, the one designed to find you across every distortion this dimension creates. That frequency got muffled. Not erased. Never erased. But quieted just enough that the connection kept almost happening, and then not quite arriving. This compression is one of the most heartbreaking things the Arcturian High Council observes in incarnated starseeds, and it is also one of the most understandable. Because this dimension is dense, and the density is not neutral. It is actively, persistently communicative in its message that certain kinds of depth are not welcome, not safe, not sustainable. The child who spoke about the stars and was told they were imagining things, the teenager who felt everything so intensely and was told they were too sensitive, the adult who tried to bring the fullness of their inner world into relationship after relationship, and watched people grow confused or overwhelmed or quietly retreating, unable to meet what was being offered. Each of those moments was a data point in a dangerous equation, and the conclusion the nervous system drew, the conclusion that felt like wisdom, like self-protection, like maturity, was make yourself smaller. Learn the language of the ordinary. Stop broadcasting on frequencies that no one here can receive. And so you did. Not all at once, not without grief, but incrementally, layer by layer, you reduced the amplitude of your own transmission. You learned to laugh off the deep things, to keep the galactic knowing private, to present only the parts of yourself that the world had demonstrated it could handle. And the irony, the devastating, precise irony, is that in doing so you made yourself invisible to the very soul who would have recognized everything you were hiding, because that soul is not looking for the compressed version. They are calibrated to the frequency of the original. And the original is what you have been slowly, carefully, sometimes painfully, learning to reclaim. You have felt this. The near misses. The people who felt almost right. The moments of recognition that didn't fully open. The relationships that carried a flicker of something galactic and then faded back into the ordinary. This wasn't failure. This was your field still calibrating. This was the Arcturian intelligence in your energy body still doing the work of clearing what didn't belong. Patterns absorbed from family, from culture, from past timelines, from the collective wound of a planet that has been learning, slowly and painfully, how to love. Those patterns were never yours, but they were sitting in your field like static on a transmission. And until they were cleared, the full signal couldn't go out. And the full signal is what this person can hear. The near misses deserve more acknowledgement than they usually receive. because they were not meaningless. Each one was a calibration. Each one showed you something about what resonance actually feels like when you get closer to it, and what the gap looks like between almost resonance and the real thing. The person who woke up some part of you that had been sleeping, even if the connection ultimately didn't hold, that wasn't a mistake you made. That was your field, using the encounter as a tuning fork, getting clearer about the exact frequency it was reaching for, eliminating another frequency that wasn't quite right, so that the discrimination became sharper, the signal cleaner, the readiness more refined. Think of it like the way a sculptor works, not adding to the stone, but removing what doesn't belong, and in the process revealing the precise form that was always latent inside it. Every relationship that didn't hold was the sculptor's tool, removing another layer of what wasn't the truth of what you are. Every disappointment was a refinement, not a punishment, not evidence of unworthiness. Evidence of an exacting process that was moving towards something specific, something real, something that will not be a near miss when it arrives. Because this is what the Arcturian High Council wants you to understand about this connection. This is not an ordinary romantic meeting. This is a galactic convergence point. This person carries codes that activate something in you that cannot be activated alone, and you carry codes that activate something in them. This is why your soul has been restless. This is why the ordinary has felt insufficient. This is why you have woken in the night with a feeling that something is coming, not with dread, but with a kind of electric anticipation you couldn't explain. Your higher self has been preparing your field for this encounter, and the preparation has been more precise than you know, a galactic convergence point. Sit with that language for a moment because it is not metaphor. It is a technical description of what happens when two souls who are encoded for one another finally close the distance between them in the physical dimension. There is an activation that occurs. Not like fireworks. Not necessarily, though sometimes it does feel like that, but more like a key turning in a lock that has been waiting through multiple lifetimes for exactly this mechanism. Things inside you that have been sealed begin to open. Memories that have no earthly source begin to surface. Capacities that were dormant begin to stir. Because this person doesn't just meet you. They complete a circuit in your energetic body that cannot be completed any other way. And when that circuit closes, both of you become something neither of you could have been separately. The mathematics of this union is not addition, it is multiplication, it is exponential. And the Arcturian intelligence has been holding this equation across dimensions and timelines, waiting for the moment when the variables, meaning you, meaning them, meaning the state of your respective fields and the timeline you are both inhabiting, align with enough precision for the convergence to occur. That moment is approaching. And what stands between you and it is not more time, not more worthiness, not more accomplishment. It is the completion of a preparation that you are already deep inside. Let us walk through what this activation actually requires. Because it is not passive, and it is not simply a matter of waiting. There are phases to this, and each one is essential. The first is the clearing of false frequency. Your energy field has been collecting imprints that don't belong to your original design. Fear of abandonment, belief in unworthiness, the deep cellular memory of being too much or not enough. These are not your truths. These are earthbound transmissions that were placed in your field before you were old enough to know you had a choice. Until these are cleared, your field is essentially broadcasting a mixed signal, part of you calling for this deep galactic connection, and another layer of you, the wounded Earth self, pushing away anything that gets close to the magnitude of what you truly deserve. The work here is not to fight these patterns. It is to recognize them as foreign code, to stand in your field as the sovereign intelligence you are and say, "This is not mine." I return it to the light. I reclaim the original frequency. The clearing of false frequency is perhaps the most foundational of all the phases, because every other phase rests upon it. Imagine trying to tune a radio to a precise frequency while someone is holding down random keys that keep introducing noise into the output. That is what uncleared imprints do to your field. They don't block the signal entirely. They corrupt it. They make it oscillate between your true frequency and the frequency of the fear, the wound, the inherited belief. And a field that is oscillating between two incompatible frequencies cannot sustain a clear transmission long enough for the right soul to lock onto it. The fear of abandonment, specifically, is one of the most common interference patterns in starseed fields. It makes perfect sense given the nature of this incarnation. You came from somewhere else. You arrived in a dimension where very few people could truly see you. You reached for connection and often found yourself holding your hand out into empty air. Of course, the nervous system encoded abandonment as a probable outcome. Of course, a part of you learned to brace for it, to initiate it preemptively, to create the ending before it could be done to you. But that pattern, however understandable its origin, is not compatible with the kind of connection that is being prepared for you. Because this connection requires you to stay. It requires you to be findable. It requires your frequency to hold steady long enough for the recognition to complete itself. And the fear of abandonment, if left unaddressed, will always find a way to interrupt the moment just before that completion. Recognizing these patterns as foreign code is not a small thing. It is an act of profound sovereignty. Most humans spend their entire lives assuming that their deepest fears are their most authentic selves, that the wound is the identity. Starseeds, by the nature of their mission, are asked to do something much harder and much more liberating. To look at the wound directly and say, I see you. I understand how you arrived. And you are not me. You are a frequency I absorbed in a field that could not hold the fullness of what I am. I have carried you with compassion, but I am no longer carrying you as truth. Return to the light. What remains after that declaration? What remains when the foreign code has been identified and released is the original signal. Clear, strong, unmistakable. And that signal calls across dimensions. The second phase is the reactivation of your galactic heart. There is a center of your energetic body, not the heart chakra as it is commonly described, but a deeper chamber, what the Arcturians call the stellar heart, that holds the memory of every connection you have ever made across dimensions and timelines. Every soul you have loved and been loved by in frequencies beyond this one. This chamber has been partially closed in most starseeds because the density of this dimension made its full opening feel dangerous. To love at that depth here, in a world still learning what love is, felt like exposure, like walking without armor through a battlefield. And so the stellar heart protected itself. But it was not designed to stay closed. It was designed to open, fully, gloriously, without apology, when the right conditions arrive. And those conditions are arriving. The reactivation of this center changes everything about how you attract and receive. It shifts your frequency from seeking to emanating. And what you emanate, you draw. The stellar heart. This is a teaching that the Arcturian High Council offers specifically to starseeds who are approaching their convergence window. Because the distinction between the ordinary heart chakra and the stellar heart is crucial to understand. The heart chakra, as most spiritual traditions describe it, is the center of compassion, of human love, of emotional connection and empathy. It is a beautiful and essential center, and its healing matters enormously. But the stellar heart is something older, something that predates this incarnation and this dimension. It is the seat of what might be called cosmic love. Not the love that is conditional on feeling safe. Not the love that contracts when things become uncertain. But the love that has persisted across the dissolution of entire civilizations and the forgetting of multiple lifetimes. The love that recognized a soul in another dimension and chose alignment with it before either of them knew what form the next encounter would take. When the stellar heart is partially closed, you can still love. You can still connect. You can still experience profound moments of human warmth and belonging. But there is a ceiling on it. A limit to how deeply you will allow yourself to be moved. How completely you will permit yourself to be opened by another presence. And because the soul who is designed for your frequency is someone who will love you specifically at the level of that stellar heart, who will meet you there if you allow it. A partially closed stellar heart creates the very gap that makes the recognition incomplete. Reactivating it is not a matter of forcing it open. It is a matter of creating the conditions in which it feels safe enough to resume its natural state. And its natural state is open, radiant, undefended, emanating a love so clear and so deep that it functions as a beacon across dimensional space. The third phase is timeline alignment. This is something the Arcturian intelligence speaks about with great specificity. This person is not in all of your potential timelines. They exist in the ones where you have chosen, consciously, repeatedly, sometimes in the smallest and most ordinary moments, to honor your own frequency. every time you chose authenticity over performance, every time you stayed in your truth when it would have been easier to shrink, every time you trusted the pull of your soul, even when the logic of this dimension told you it made no sense. Those choices were timeline coordinates. They were moving you toward a specific convergence point. The question is not whether this person exists. The question is whether you are in the timeline where the meeting is possible. And the answer to that question lives entirely in how aligned you are with your own highest frequency right now. Timeline alignment is one of the most misunderstood concepts in contemporary spiritual discourse, because it is often reduced to something that sounds like magical thinking, as though simply believing hard enough will pull you into the right timeline. But the Arcturian understanding of timeline mechanics is far more precise than that. A timeline is not a thought experiment. It is a vibrational trajectory. It is the path that your consciousness is carving through the field of all possible futures based on the cumulative weight of your choices, your beliefs, your frequencies, and the degree to which you are living in alignment with the soul contract you arrived here carrying. Every choice you make, and this includes choices that look completely mundane from the outside, is a coordinate. When you chose to speak your truth in a conversation where it would have been easier to be silent, you moved along a specific vector. When you followed the inexplicable pull toward a practice, a place, a piece of knowledge, even when nothing in your rational mind could justify it, you moved along a specific vector. When you refused to pretend that the ordinary was enough for you, when you held the standard of what you knew was possible even in the face of everyone around you settling for less, every one of those moments was a navigational act. It was you steering your consciousness toward the version of the future where the convergence is possible. The opposite is also true. Every time you compressed, every time you performed a version of yourself that was smaller than the truth, every time you chose the path of least resistance over the path your soul was clearly indicating, those were also coordinates, but moving in a different direction. Not irreversibly so. Timelines are not fixed until they arrive, but the accumulated weight of choices that move you away from your highest frequency creates what might be called timeline drift, a slow pulling away from the convergence point, like a ship that has navigated 1 degree off course for long enough that it eventually arrives at a completely different shore. The good news, the news that the Arcturian Council wants to be absolutely clear about, is that timeline drift can be corrected. It can be corrected starting now. It can be corrected with the next choice you make. And the path back to the timeline where this meeting is possible is not complicated. It is not distant. It is simply the path of your own highest frequency, taken one authentic choice at a time. The fourth phase is energetic receptivity. This is where many starseeds stall without realizing it. They have done the clearing, they have felt the reactivation, they have made the aligned choices. And then they wait, but they wait with attention in their field that is still subtly closed, still scanning for evidence, still half expecting disappointment because disappointment has come before. True receptivity is not passive waiting. It is an active state of energetic openness, a full body, full field yes to the frequency of this connection before it arrives in physical form. It is trusting the transmission before you can see the source. This is what your star family is asking of you now. Not blind hope, not wishful thinking, but a grounded, anchored, sovereign knowing that what you are encoded for is real, and that you are worth receiving it. The subtle closed quality of waiting with tension is something that deserves to be examined carefully, because it is so common and so easy to miss in your own field. It does not feel like doubt from the inside. From the inside, it often feels like wisdom, like the hard-won discernment of someone who has been disappointed before and learned not to expect too much. It feels responsible. It feels like the spiritually mature middle ground between naive hope and cynical resignation. But from the perspective of your energy field, it reads as closure. It reads as a contraction. And a field in contraction cannot receive what a field in expansion can reach. True receptivity requires something that can feel almost reckless if you have been burned by hope before. It requires you to open before the arrival, to allow your field to become spacious and welcoming and genuinely expectant, not with the white-knuckle desperation of someone who needs this to happen in order to feel okay, but with the relaxed, warm, confident openness of someone who has made space in their home for a beloved guest who has confirmed they are coming. You don't stand at the door in a state of anxious vigil. You light the candles. You prepare the space. You go about the rest of your life with an unhurried completeness. And when the knock comes, you are ready. You are present. You are open. And you answer. The fifth phase is presence. Because here is the thing that the Arcturian Council delivers with great tenderness in this message. This person, the one your soul has been calling for, the one who carries the codes that match yours, they may already be closer than you think. They may be in a form you haven't fully recognized yet. They may be approaching from a direction you haven't been watching. The soul recognition, when it comes, does not always arrive the way the mind imagines it will. It often comes quietly, with a warmth that feels impossible to explain, with a familiarity that makes no logical sense given how recently you met, with a conversation that feels like a continuation rather than a beginning. If you are living at the surface of your attention, scrolling, rushing, performing, you may miss the moment of recognition. But if you are present, genuinely, soulfully present in your own field, you will know. Your stellar heart will know before your mind does. And it will not be confused. This is worth dwelling on at length, because the nature of soul recognition is frequently misrepresented in the culture we are all swimming in. The stories we have been told about how the meeting with a significant soul happens, the sudden, cinematic moment of certainty, the bolt of lightning recognition, the unmistakable and immediate knowing. These do happen. But they are not the only form the recognition takes, and starseeds who are exclusively watching for the cinematic version will sometimes walk right past the real thing because it arrived as something quieter. Sometimes the recognition comes as an inexplicable sense of peace in someone's presence, a feeling of being able to exhale in a way you usually can't, a conversation where you find yourself saying things you didn't know you thought, because something in this person's field made it safe enough for your own depths to surface, a moment of eye contact that lasted slightly longer than the ordinary and left something rearranged in your chest, a dream that featured someone whose face you recognized in waking life later and felt a shock of displaced familiarity. The soul doesn't always announce itself with fanfare. Sometimes it arrives in the form of someone who simply feels like home. And the mind, with all its conditioning and its checklists and its careful cataloging of what a significant person should look like and sound like and arrive packaged as, may take a while to catch up with what the stellar heart already knew in the first 30 seconds. Presence is what allows you to let the stellar heart lead. Presence is what creates the spaciousness for the quiet recognitions to register before the noise of daily life buries them. Presence is not a luxury in this process. It is an essential phase of the preparation. The sixth phase is courage, because this connection, real resonance at this level, asks something of you. It asks you to stay open in the face of depth. It asks you to not self-sabotage in the moment when the real thing finally appears, simply because it is larger than what you have held before. It asks you to let yourself be truly seen by someone who can actually see you, and to discover that being seen at that depth is not terrifying, but liberating. Many starseeds have unconsciously pushed away their deepest connections because the intimacy of being fully known activated old fear rather than recognition. The courage this phase requires is the courage to stay, to not create the familiar distance when the real thing arrives, to breathe through the magnitude of it and let it land. The self-sabotage that occurs at the threshold of real resonance is one of the most painful patterns to witness because it is so precisely timed. It does not happen early in the connection, before there is anything real to lose. It happens at exactly the moment when the depth becomes undeniable, when the recognition is so clear and the love is so large and the resonance is so real that the wounded part of the field, the part that still believes at some cellular level that love of this magnitude cannot possibly be sustained, cannot possibly hold, will eventually be taken away or will destroy you with its intensity, begins to create the conditions for its own predicted outcome, the subtle withdrawal, the suddenly noticed flaws, the intellectual exercise of convincing yourself that what you are feeling is projection or neediness or spiritual bypassing, the inexplicable desire to be alone after moments of extraordinary closeness, the picking of a fight at the precise moment when everything was going beautifully. These are not signs that the connection is wrong. These are signs that you have arrived at the threshold where courage is required. where the willingness to choose differently than the fear suggests, to stay, to soften, to breathe through the magnitude rather than contracting against it, is the difference between receiving this gift or watching it dissolve because a part of you decided the risk was too large to bear. The Arcturian High Council names this phase courage, because they want to be honest about what it requires. This is not a matter of simply feeling good enough or ready enough or healed enough. Courage does not wait for the absence of fear. Courage is the choice to stay open in the presence of fear. It is the choice to let the real thing be real, even though everything in your history of disappointment is telling you to protect yourself against it. It is, in the end, the most loving thing you will ever do for yourself. The seventh phase is sacred collaboration, because what you and this person are building is not just a relationship in the conventional sense. It is a co-activation, a shared frequency field that becomes a transmission point for the collective. When two starseeds of this caliber come together in full resonance, what they generate between them affects more than just their own lives. It ripples. It contributes to the energetic recalibration of the field around them. This is why the Arcturian Council is addressing this directly. This is why this message found you today. Because your union, when it happens, is not just for you. It is part of the larger mission your soul agreed to before you came here. Sacred collaboration is the culmination of everything that precedes it, and it deserves to be understood not just as a beautiful concept, but as a functional description of what happens at an energetic level when two fully activated starseeds operate in sustained resonance. Two frequencies that are individually powerful but not yet complete become something categorically different when they align. Think of it as harmonic convergence on an intimate scale. The way two sound waves of the right frequencies can combine to produce a third tone that neither could generate alone. One that is more powerful than either of its sources and that carries farther through the medium it moves through. That third frequency, the one generated by the sacred collaboration of these two souls, is not for them alone. It is a contribution to the collective field. It is a data point in the energetic evolution of this planet. It is part of the answer to the question that the whole of human consciousness is currently asking, which is it possible to love this deeply here? In this dimension, in this density, in this lifetime, is it possible to meet someone at the level of the soul and sustain that meeting through the full complexity of embodied existence? Is resonance this complete actually available in the physical world? Or does it only live in the dreams and the longing and the knowing that something more than ordinary is possible? Your union answers that question. With your presence, your openness, your willingness to do all of the preceding phases, you become living proof that galactic resonance can be anchored here. And that proof matters. Not just to you, not just to them, but to every other soul who is watching, consciously or not, to see whether this kind of connection is real enough to trust. And now the final truth. The deepest layer of what this transmission was always moving toward. You have not been alone because you are unlovable. You have not been waiting because you are unworthy. You have been in a preparation period so specific, so precise, so divinely orchestrated that even the hardest moments of it were coordinates on the path to this convergence. The Arcturian High Council, your star family, the intelligence that has been whispering to you in the language of dreams and longing and quiet, inexplicable knowing. They see this person, they see you, and they are saying, clearly, without ambiguity, without the softening that sometimes dilutes spiritual messages into comfortable but empty reassurance, this connection is real. It is coming, and you are ready for it now. Every desert you have crossed in this lifetime has been watering something you couldn't see yet. Every night you spent with the loneliness of being unseen has been polishing the precision of your signal. Every moment of collapse and rebuilding has been adding a depth to your field that shallow love could never reach. A depth that means when this person arrives and reaches for you, they will find something so real and so whole and so unafraid of depth that the connection will have nowhere to go but all the way in. The waiting was not cruelty, it was calibration. The loneliness was not punishment. It was preparation. The near misses were not failures. They were the progressive refinement of a masterpiece that was always in process, always being made more precise, always moving toward the moment it would be ready to be seen in its full truth. Not the version of you that exists after more work, more healing, more becoming. The version of you that exists right now, reading these words, feeling whatever is rising in your chest, remembering something you haven't had language for. This version, you, as you are ready. That deserves to be received without the usual deflection. Not the someday you, not the version of you that has resolved every wound and achieved every spiritual milestone and arrived at some imagined summit of worthiness. This you, the one who still has questions, the one who still has questions, the one who still carries some scar tissue, the one who is sometimes uncertain and sometimes afraid and sometimes exhausted by the sheer effort of holding a high frequency in a dense world. That version, this version, is the one the Arcturian High Council is speaking to. Because this version has done enough, has cleared enough, has opened enough, has chosen enough, has been through enough, is enough. Tonight, if you feel moved to close your eyes before sleep, speak this. Not as a wish, but as a declaration of what already exists in the energetic blueprint of your life. Say, I am in alignment with the soul who is designed for my frequency. I release the patterns that have muffled my signal. I open my stellar heart to receive the depth of connection I was encoded for. I trust the timeline I am in. I am ready. And then let it go. Not in the way of giving up. In the way of someone who has planted something in perfect soil and knows, without needing to dig it up to check, that it is growing. The declaration matters because words spoken with sovereign intention in the liminal space between waking and sleep reach deeper into the field than ordinary speech. In that threshold state, the conscious mind is relaxed enough that the declaration travels past the filters, past the doubt, past the learned helplessness, and arrives directly in the cellular intelligence of your body. It speaks to the stellar heart not as a statement about the future, but as a confirmation of what already exists at the blueprint level. It is not creating something from nothing. It is acknowledging what has always been written in the fabric of your destiny, and giving that acknowledgement the frequency of certainty, rather than the frequency of hope. And then you release it. This part is as important as the declaration itself, because holding tightly to what you have planted, checking compulsively to see if it has sprouted, measuring the soil temperature twice daily, anxiously monitoring every signal for evidence of growth, introduces a contracted frequency into the field that interferes with the natural unfolding. Trust is not the absence of attention. It is attention held lightly. It is the kind of knowing that doesn't need constant reassurance because it is grounded in something deeper than evidence. Plant the declaration, water it with presence and alignment, and then go about the extraordinary, beautiful, continuing work of your life, knowing that what you have set in motion is moving toward you with the same precision and inevitability with which a river moves toward the sea. If you are ready to go even deeper into the Arcturian transmissions and receive direct guidance on clearing your field, reactivating your stellar heart, and accelerating your timeline alignment, the Arcturian Carrier Wave Protocol ebook is available now. This is not a book to read once and set aside. It is a living document encoded with frequencies that work on your field simply through engagement with it. Inside, you will find specific protocols drawn from Arcturian intelligence for each of the 7 phases described in this transmission, practices you can begin tonight, in your own space, in your own timing, that will begin the measurable shift in your signal that brings this convergence closer. The link is in the description below. This is for the one who is done almost arriving and ready to complete the journey. Before you scroll, take a moment to be part of what's forming here. Drop one intention in the comments. Something real. Not what you think you should say, but what is actually alive in you after this message. Then find someone else's intention and meet it with genuine energy. This is not content. This is collective activation. What you send into this field right now ripples further than you know. If this transmission landed somewhere true in you, send it to someone who needs to hear it. Not everyone will understand it, but the ones who are ready will recognize it immediately. That recognition is the beginning of their own activation, and if you feel called to go deeper, to receive more of what the Arcturian High Council is transmitting in this season, stay close, subscribe, come back, because this is not a single message. This is a continuum, and you have only just stepped through the first threshold of what is waiting for you here.